right. Hello, all you beautiful, wonderful, amazing, spectacular tea people. I'm going live right now, YouTube and Instagram, and I'm hoping that whatever loud noises usually come about whenever I start a live stream don't start. So right now you can hear the birds, you can hear all the different things going on. I'm hoping that the planes don't come down. Now it is, like it's not time for them to come off the air, right? They're flying around. I didn't hear too many in the morning, so I'm hoping that the planes don't come over and and do all the things that the planes do as soon as I start a live stream every time. But anyways, today, Nanhu Dashan. So this is the really sort of special oolong. We're going to talk about this oolong. We're going to talk about micro scams, gossip, and all the things that happened to me this week. Which are very, very small things and inconsequential. But we can talk about them right now. But it's Nanhu Dashan Oolongs. Now, this is the sort of the week that I'm hoping I get all the rest of the teas. So I'm hoping I get some teas from Pear Mountain. Those teas should be coming in. The teas from, Nanhu Dashan here. I'm trying to think where else there could be teas. There could be some other teas. Anyways, also, too, before I forget, the snow mist teas are out there. MailChimp is horrible. MailChimp is, I shouldn't say things out loud because the algorithms will deduct things from me. So nothing negative ever. But MailChimp is this. And so I'm going to be getting a new thing. So if you didn't get the newsletter, the code for 10% off the snow mist, the 2024 buttermilk, and the 2 Shanlinshi oolongs is all one word, Snow Mist 24. So that is the code, and you get 10% off of those. Snow Mist 24. All those together, that's the code for that. So if you didn't get the email, I apologize for that. I'm going to be trying out some different things for the next one, which will be, Baotongs. Got to get my Baotongs. I got to get them. That's right. So perhaps this week, actually, because I'm going to wrap up having most of my stuff done. So maybe I'll be able to get up to Pingling the next couple days. That would be awesome, right? But what is it? It's the middle of the month, so the really good Baotongs are not quite done yet. But I can still go up. And check them out. Anyways, what are we talking about today? We're talking about Nanhu Dashan. We're also going to talk about micro scams, and we're going to talk about, I thought about how I deal with micro scams, but I'm not going to tell you everything I do with micro scams. I get them all the time. Well, not all the time, once a month. But we will be talking about that and what happened. I apologize. Do you usually get Wenshan as well? Well, that's Wenshan is the area in Pingling where the Baotongs, or that's the Baozhong is the Wenshan Baozhong. So yes, absolutely, that's Pingling. And so we'll talk about what happened. And I don't know if you guys saw the. I'll wait for these to be just about done. They're just about done. But what happened this week? I got this horrible email. It was just one of those things where it's like, everything that you believe in is false, and I have proof. And some person from Norway wrote me an email, and they said that I ordered your teas in 2023, and they had a list of like 10 teas, and they said that every single tea that you sent out was missing 40% of the tea, and that's including like the 1970s oolong and like really expensive teas, which I know are impossible. Like, I can talk about why it's impossible later. And it was like, it was a big sort of like, like, what? Is there something wrong with my scale? Is there something wrong? Now, when I pack teas, it usually goes through, there's one scale, Old Scaly, and that scale is really, really good. He's a great scale. I've been using him for years. Amazing scale, no problems. Japanese scale, Old Scaly works really, really well. But I have multiple scales, and every once in a while I'll take it and try. I've got 3 or 4 different scales, and I'll try the different scales, make sure that everything's going okay. And when it comes to the really expensive teas, I double check, triple check. Like, if I'm selling a tea that's almost $1 a gram or over $1 a gram, I'm double checking that all the way through for both the customers and for myself and all those things. And usually when I get those teas in, I get them in I don't know why they do this, but anyways, they send me the teas. I buy a bunch of them, but they send me in 75-gram packages. And so I'll do like a 50 and a 25, or I'll do, 7 10s, and then I'll have 5 left over. And so the whole time I'm doing the expensive teas, it's always going through like double checking and doing all the things, always, right? And I've been doing this so long that it's like I just pick up a tea and I know how much it is. But this person was saying that they were getting teas, they ordered like a 25 grams and it was 16, and it freaked right out. So I threw it out into the and I asked people if they'd ever experienced anything like that, and thankfully no one had. Right, no one had experienced anything like that. But it was. And one of the wonderful, amazing, spectacular tea people that have talked to me about this, they actually introduced a term to me that I'd never heard before, and the term is micro scam. And I don't know, maybe that's what it was, but I'll tell you. I mean, I send it out there. Lots of people. I mean, sure, most of the people just read it and go, "Yeah, I've never had any problems," and not worry about it. But a lot of people wrote back and say, "Yeah, no, you used to give me more." But I wrote in there like a funny thing that was like who's going to scam a bunch of people that literally use digital scales with your products on a day-to-day basis? It's like who would do that? But what really got me about the micro scam and what people did, what happened was they said that every single tea was wrong. Every single tea. And that's impossible. I'm sorry. 1 or 2, okay, it happens. I apologize, but they said that every single one was wrong. And they're like, "This is not how you have return customers." And I was just like, what the hell is going on? But anyways, my 25 grams of tea from you never seem to run out. Well, there we go. Well, oh, ouch. Anyways, that's a plastic chair. I'll change my plastic chair. It's out here in the sun. I'm very glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that. So you can see my plastic chair is broken. Good old live streams, eh? So I'll change my plastic chair. At least I didn't fall down with hot water all over me here. But anyways, so that's why I sent out that thing and thank you to everybody who replied and things like that. And again for the 100th time, sorry for the bother. It was just one of those things where those types of accusations can sink a tea company like this, right? Like a small tea company that's based on trust and personality and things like that. It actually absolutely sink, a smaller company. I mean, the bigger guys can do all sorts of things like go on Reddit and have multiple accounts and trash talk the competitors. But nobody trusts them anyway. So it's, but for people like me, it's like, anyways, here we go. So here is the Nanhu Dashan. And I already had these before, and this is the number 1. So this is number 1, and this one. Now, what makes Nanhu Dashan special, right? What makes Nanhu Dashan special? It's granite. Now, the rest of the island is a mix between shale and sort of like muddy, sort of more calcium-rich soils, things like that. But this is granite. And so actually the first time I had this, I was doing other things. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't focusing on it. And what makes this terroir so special, like this is the only tea that I know is from that area, is the aftertaste. And the aftertaste is literally like licking a stone. Like it is literally like licking a stone. You got like a piece of granite. Here we go. I got a piece of marble right here. Oh, it's like I'm licking the marble, right? Let's see. That's a more beautiful piece of marble. Anyways, so it's like licking the marble, granite, and that is so unique for Taiwanese teas. Now, for Chinese teas, That's not so unique, right? So there's lots of places in China where you will be able to get that, right? You'll be able to get that. Never had a serious problem with your tea. The best, very generous with the amount of tea you send. Hey, oh, one more thing. You know why I always send samples, except if it's like a 20% off sale? I always send samples because I'm deathly afraid that I'm going to make a mistake and piss people off. So I always send samples because no, it's perfect. I'm gonna maybe forget something, or like this would be a couple grams short. So I always send samples with the teas, so that if that does happen, then people will be like, oh, this is 2 grams off. Oh, but he gave me like 20 grams extra. So I'm like, So that's why I always send samples. Also, I really appreciate people buying stuff, so I like to do that. But that's one of my cheat codes that I like to use. And so when you're drinking this tea, like there's some like the rock oolongs, for example, the Chinese rock oolongs. They literally do kind of taste like rocks. Right? They have that especially when they're heavily roasted. You do get that sort of that flavor going on. And this has it in spades. Now, this is the number 1 sample they gave me, and it's really pleasant. It's got the rocks in the aftertaste. But when I had it yesterday, same feeling that I'm getting right now. It's good, but it didn't have exactly what I wanted. Now I'm hoping this thing still has what I want. Let's see. Is it there? It's got it still. And this is the one I'm going to get. And I'm not going to get too much of it, but I'm going to get this one. And this one's lighter oxidized. This one's got a little bit more oxidization in there. And it's got this rich, sweet, floral note that is coming from, it must be bug bites. But I don't know how it's possible to get bug bites up there. Anyways, it's really special. It's really unique and special. Now, the first time I had it, it was a little bit stronger. It's going to be here as well. And it's probably due to something that was going on during the processing. This is a little bit more oxidized as well, so it's going to bring out more of the floral flavors. But it is the unique terroir, this absolute 100% clean garden. Now, this is the same garden as the legendary Nanhu Dashan Oriental Beauty, Eastern Beauty. And it's from the same garden. And for the last 2 years, they haven't been able to make it, which is like, like every year I'm like, did you make it yet? Did you make it yet? Did you make it yet? And this year, unfortunately, last year, for the second year in a row, they didn't make it. And he made some sort of bug bitten red oolongs, but it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. And I didn't even ask the price because I knew the price would be like out of this world. And it just wasn't. The problem was that 1 year when he made that tea, it was so good that it's so hard to go back, right? And that tea for me was like, like $1,000 a kilogram. Like it was insanely expensive, right? Like just insane for Taiwanese teas. But it was so worth it, and that's sort of the echo of that I'm getting from this brew right here, and. But it's not like, I wouldn't call this bug bitten. Like there's the bug bitten Shanlin sheet that's on the site right now. Super affordable, beautiful tea. And that is like bug bitten, right? That's got like the bug bites in it. And this one here it's much more subtle. It's much more, I'm being led by the package, right? So you got the package, and I'm being led on by the package because I just want to say purple. It's got a purple taste, right? It's just purple. It's just a purple taste. Purple flower, that sort of sweetness in it. And I'm going to get some of this. And yesterday oh, there it is. It's coming, right? This one is creamier, deeper. There's perhaps a little bit more astringency, a little bit more vegetal because it's deeper oxidized. But then the floralness is floating around. And then in the back end, you're getting that stone, that licking the stone thing. But the licking the stone thing in this one, in the number one, is much more pronounced. Right? In the number one, it's much, much more pronounced. And this one's just more sort of a classic high mountain oolong, whereas this one's got that little twist, that little hint. And I'm wondering if it's bug bites. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask. See if it goes. Now, anybody have questions about other stuff as well? Now, I talked a little bit about the. I still don't know whether it was just a well-meaning person with a really broken scale, or it was a micro scam. But I was thinking about it. I was talking about the snow mist teas. I mentioned one of my competitors who there's some gossip about him up on the snow mist. And I was thinking, you know what? I bet you that was punishment. I bet you that email was stress because I mentioned something that was none of my business. But I was thinking about that. I try and keep my life really, really, really clean from gossip and that type of stuff, like really clean from gossip. And like, I bet that was punishment for even mentioning that story. But yeah, it was very, very strange. It was very, very strange. Now, so the Baotong teas are going to be the next things that come in. Now, random question coming in. I bought a tea elsewhere. I normally like a lot, but it tastes over roasted. Does rest help? It's like I can taste the smoke a little. So that is a great question. And it is a question that the answer to it is absolutely. Now, where it keeps going and where I could get deeper into it would be to ask you, is it freshly roasted, right? Is it a freshly roasted tea? Now, when you're looking at teas that are roasted, and especially teas that are heavily roasted, you don't even want to drink them for about 6 months to a year. 6 months to a year before they actually start getting decent, before they actually start getting really good. And that's simply because what we say in Chinese, literally you say "huo hai zai," right? The fire is still there. Tai dou huo, there's too much fire on it. And that's not saying that the tea is bad. That's saying that there's literally, you can still taste the fire. You can still taste the roast. You can still taste the whatever it is that went wrong, or I shouldn't say that. Whatever it is that is not hitting your palate the right way is still there. Now that goes away. I'll give you an example. Now, this is not a heavily roasted tea, but this is a tea that is the favorite of, at this point, hundreds of people, right? When it comes to roasted teas, hundreds of people, this is their favorite tea. And that's the Old Master Dongding. Now, I have it in the shop. I have 3 huge boxes of it, I bought a lot of it, but I'm not releasing it. And I'm not releasing it, not so much because it doesn't taste good. And this is not exactly the same in the sense you mentioned smoke. Smoke is a little bit different, right? This is an electric roast, right? The Old Master Dongding is the electric roast, but it's more heavily roasted. And so when it comes in, I let it sit, right? So I get the sample. At this point in the game, he always, he's in his 80s. He's got bad hearing, and so he'll phone my wife, and they'll scream at each other in the phone, and then he sends a sample, and as soon as I get the mail, I don't even have to try it. I say, okay, let's order it, and I try it, and it's wonderful. But with that tea, it only gets better with age. So 3-4 months down the line, it's going to be even better. In 6 months, it's going to be even better. And like the heavily roasted teas, that just gets better forever. For the Old Master Dongding, you're looking at, it's sort of like a black tea up to about 5 years. Then after that, it's just amazing, right? Sorry, before that, it's just amazing. Every single month you open the bag, it's just, wow, it's better, better, better. Then after 5 years to maybe 20 years, you sort of have to just put it on a shelf somewhere. But anyways, besides the point. The point is when it's really super smoky, you got to kind of have to wait a year, and then it just gets better forever and ever and ever. There is an exception. The exception is if it's low quality leaves and they just smoked it, then there's nothing that's going to make it better. But if it's a tea that you like, chances are it is, right? And especially with the roasted teas, let them sit. Don't be like, this is a terrible tea, I hate it now, blah, blah, blah. No. Just let it sit, see what happens, right? Just let it sit and see what happens. And you should be able to enjoy it after a month or so. Anyways, I hope that helps, and some examples. I've noticed, especially with oolongs, that the taste develops so much over time. It's kind of mind-blowing. Yes, absolutely. Especially with the heavily roasted teas, right? The super heavily roasted teas. I'll try it again in a few months. Yeah. Just stick it in a shelf and sort of forget about it. And especially if it's tea you liked in the past, and maybe this is the new month. Now, remember, why do people roast the tea? There's two main reasons why people roast the tea. They're experts and they take a really good tea and they make it better. Number two, they take a crap tea and they try and mask the crap flavor with a roast. That's the two main reasons why you'd roast a tea, right? So say, for example, you leave a tea out too long, and so the tea is just out forever, right? And then you didn't close it right, and you're like, oh no, what do I do? It's all stale, basically, for lack of a better word. Then you throw it in the roaster and you make it turn brown, and then you can sell it again, and it's fine, right? And so that's one of the reasons why. The other one is, of course, you take a really amazing tea and you roast it and you turn it into something extremely special, right? And so if it's one of those teas, just let it sit and it'll just get better. And especially with those types of teas, especially with the roasted oolongs. And I don't have as much understanding about the Chinese roasted oolongs. Obviously, kind of a Taiwanese tea expert here. With those teas, the roasted Taiwanese oolongs, the curve, well, I was going to make that joke, but I'm not going to. The curve is like this for taste and enjoyability, right? Like this, and then you hit about 5 years, and then it goes like this, 5 years, and then maybe down like this a little bit, and then when it hits 20 years, it's back up again, right? So it's that's sort of the curve. And so yeah, so don't feel bad, and especially if it's from a place that you trust and you enjoy. Then that's definitely not something that you should toss away or complain too much. But after a couple months, especially if it's from somebody you trust, and I'll throw this out there to anybody, right? If you have a tea from me that you're like, what's wrong? What's going on? Let me know. I'll tell you a story about that, actually. Hopefully that's not too loud. That's my neighbor hitting, sounds like metal. So I had, like a wholesale client. And just for the record, the wholesale is going to be like, I'm going to try and get all the wholesale stuff. So if you're a wholesale client, in the next probably late May, early June, I'm going to send out an email, and there's going to be a bunch of wholesale, like a wholesale list of things that you're going to be able to get. I've been not doing that. Anyways, here's the story. So there's a wholesale client buying tea from me for many years. And they sent me an email, and they said, the Luye Red Oolong is terrible. What's going on? And I was like, Luye Red Oolong, what are you doing? And so this was this was wintertime. And so this was the spring from before. This is this year. And I went in and I took out, I only had a little bit left, I don't know, a couple 100 grams of the spring 2023. And I took one out, opened it up, put it in a bowl, started drinking, and I was like, well, crap. Now, what had happened was when that tea had been put away, there was too much moisture in it. And for me, drinking the tea in the springtime and throughout the year, who cares, right? But I hadn't touched that tea for like, I don't know, probably 6 months. I hadn't drank it. But, people were buying it. It was okay. But she had bought it in the spring, and she was opening up another bag of it then. And And I was like, wow, this sucks. Now, I didn't really do anything about it because, like I said, I only had a couple 100 grams left. And so I just took that off the shelf, um, and nobody had really said anything about it. Like, it usually sells out a lot in the summertime, and then sort of by the wintertime. Anyways, point was, it wasn't a big deal because I knew before it was really, really good. But then there it had gotten bad. So I wrote back and I was like, yeah, yeah, sorry about that. Like, when it was put away in the summertime, or packaged and put up, there was too much moisture in it, and I didn't know. Sorry about that. So when the wintertime, it was just before the wintertime harvest. So when the wintertime harvest came in, I sent a replacement. And so if somebody really knows the teas and trusts the teas, and there's a tea that you taste that is not really up to your standards, or you think there's something wrong, get in touch with the people. Ask them what happened. Right. So ask them, say, what's up with that? Why? Like, this is seems to be wrong. Now, sometimes it's brewing, sometimes it's water, but generally speaking, it's because something like that happened. And if they're good people, then they'll be like, "Whoa, sorry about that." And that particular person, I was like, "Throw it in your oven, like, roast it, see what happens." See if you can get it so you can sell the. Obviously, I wasn't gonna say just do that and sell the same tea. I was curious. Like, I was literally curious. I didn't have enough to roast it myself to see if you could save it, quote unquote save it. But I was like, whoa, what can you do with this? Can you, like, save it? Can you like? But I don't think she did that. But I thought that would be a fun opportunity. But I didn't have enough of it at that moment to do it. But that happens sometimes, right? It absolutely happens sometimes. Like this year, I have a slightly smaller fridge for storing my tea. So the fridge is on, and all the greenish teas that are on the site, anything that isn't packaged up into ready to sale stuff, gets stuck in the fridge. And I'm a little worried because when we moved, now I have a smaller fridge, and it's like, I don't know, maybe half the size, or like 2/3 the size. I'm running out of space. But so, anyways, I'll figure it out. Well, maybe we'll have to use we'll figure it out. It'll work. But any other questions about anything else you can throw out there? Again, to go back to what I'm drinking here, these are the Nanhu Dashan teas, and this year, pretty decent year up there, and this day is a little bit more oxidized, and I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. It's got a little touch of a deep purple floral in there. Not a rose floral, but like a purple floral. Again, I think it's just because of the bag's purple, but makes me feel this one's a little bit golden as well. How should I store my tea? I bought some tin cans, but now I'm not sure if that was the right choice. So it totally depends on the tea. 100% absolutely depends on the tea. If it's a green tea, don't store it. Drink it. Right? So if it's a green tea, drink it. Drink it as fast as you can. Well, not as fast as you can, but within reason. If it's a greenish oolong, what you can do, there's a couple things you can do. As long as it's airtight, you're good to go. You can put it in the fridge. Okay, so just take the original packaging, you can put in Tupperware. Don't do elastic bands or even a tea clip, or you can do that in a Tupperware. Throw it in the fridge, and it'll, like, in the bottom fridge, doesn't have to be in the freezer or anything, and it'll last basically forever. Now, the one thing you have to worry about, well, not forever, but like 2 years. If you do it, it's in there consistently. The one thing about the greenish oolongs, when you take it out, either use it really fast and put it back in, or if you're going to know it's going to be a long time, take it out, let it cool down, because when you take it out of the fridge, oftentimes there can be some condensation on the outsides. Then that is, you don't want to get that in your tea, because especially if you take it in and out. But as long as you take it out when it's airtight and you use it really fast. You stick it back in, it's fine. Or you take it out, let it go to room temperature, and then use it, it's fine. For the blacks and the roasted oolongs, the tins are perfect as long as you're not getting flavors coming from the tins. And that can be a big issue for various types of tins. And the tins work well. You want to keep them out of sunlight, right? In a shelf, make sure they're airtight. So there's a bunch of different types of tins, but just make sure they're airtight. And if they're not 100% airtight, it's not the biggest deal as long as they're in a shelf with no spices or no strong smells. But the black teas and the sort of the mid-oxidized red oolongs are fine for this as well. Roasted oolongs, anything that's not a high mountain or greenish oolong, you can stick those in the tins. The floral teas as well actually work fine for the tins as well. Just remember that the tins, some of the tins will have flavors that get into them. But I think modern tins should be fine. Modern tins should be absolutely no problem at all, right? The modern tin should actually, and I should probably sell the tins. I should probably sell tins, but my limited isn't the right word, but Mountain Stream Teas, the direction of Mountain Stream Teas has gone where, like I sort of feel bad about sending empty tins around the world. that makes me feel bad. Like I could charge enough to make money from it. I could charge for the shipping or blah, blah, blah. But just sending an empty tin around the world for me is just like, it's really tough. It's really tough. But I should get tins and things because I could stick tea in the tins, right? I could stick tea in the tins, but then somebody's gonna be like, I want to buy 20 tins with no tea, and then I'm gonna be like, Anyways, the point is that modern tins should be fine, but hopefully that's a very long and convoluted answer to your question how to store the teas. If you bought a tea cake, one of the rare tea cakes, then that you can eat. Like they come in Ziploc bags. You want to make sure that Ziploc bag gets open. You don't want to store it in the Ziploc bag. And but with the ones that I have right now, it's actually okay if you do that too. It's not a big deal. But what you want to do with those, you stick them sort of in the same place you put your black teas. You can also put them airtight, sort of in a container. Some people, I'm not going to wade into the tea cake storage thing. Some people will have an entire room and there's all sorts of different things, but you can do your own research on that. I won't, I'm by no means an expert on that type of stuff. So I can't help with that with the tea cakes. But hopefully that answers your question. So to recap, white teas as well. So white teas, roasted oolongs, and the black teas, a tin is fine. You can even just keep them in the original packaging, depending on how long you want to store it. If you want to store it for years and years, a tin is better. But if you're just going to store it for 6 months until you finish it or something like that, then the original bag is fine. And airtight and just away from smells and sunlight. The greenish oolongs, you can get them airtight, throw them in the fridge. Works really, really, really well. And then the green teas, drink them. Just drink them. Don't store them. Right? Don't store them. I just got in some of the some more Sancha green a couple weeks ago or last week, and I had the option to buy a bunch, but I didn't. And the reason I didn't was because I want to sell out by the time it gets really hot in Taiwan. Because when it gets really hot in Taiwan, I can't put the green teas in the fridge because they got too much moisture. And so I want to sell out by sort of mid to the end of June, and then I'll buy green tea again in September. Because I really do there's nothing worse than stale green tea, right? There's nothing worse, right? It's just gross. Stale green tea is just gross. And so for sure, I'll get, they usually do green tea again in September. So I'll buy their green tea in September. Yep. I'll get some of this. Not as much as last year, but I'll get some of this. It's pretty good. It's really nice. And the aftertaste, again, you get that licking the stone thing. Yeah. Any other questions about anything? Thank you to everybody who bought tea the last couple days. The Snow Mist teas You know, they're dented. They're not sold out, but they're dented. So my guess is they'll probably last until sort of early July before they get sold out this year. But thank you to everybody who got some. I'm actually thinking, because I've got so much of this jade, I'm thinking like if somebody gets an order and they spend over $200 on an order, maybe I'll send them a piece of jade. I did that today. Somebody bought so much tea, like just insane amounts of tea, and thank you very much, Ms. H. And so I was like, okay, you know what, like, send samples, of course, but I'm like, here, take a chunk of jade. So I did that as well. So that's I think what I'm going to be doing for the jade in the future as well. But hey, we got through like a live stream without too much noise, right? So we got the drill going on over there, but other than that, we made it through okay, not bad. Oh yeah, so if you didn't get the newsletter, the code is, of course, all one word, Snow Mist 24. It's a Snow Mist Oolong black and white with the 2024 buttermilk and the 2 Shanlin-Shis, so the Phoenix Valley Shanlin-Shi and the Bug Bitten Shanlin-Shi, and then was that it? I think that was all the teas, yeah. The buttermilk and then the Shanlin-Shis. So those are all 10% off until, I guess, Wednesday. So for me, I guess tomorrow. But everybody who's ordered tea, it will be sent out today. And yeah, it's kind of nice. I mean, when I live in here where the warehouse is, I'm like, last night I couldn't sleep very well, so I was like, I'll wake up and I'll do some orders and things like that. So it's wonderful. And as always, thank you so much for supporting Mountain Stream Teas, which is my family and I, and all of our friends who make those amazing teas. But that's it for now. So, all right. So thank you for watching. So wherever in the world, I hope you have an amazing night, evening, weekend, and all of that. See you next live stream.